This is for the kids that snort pixie sticks, and this is for the kids that starts fights for kicks, for the millions at home that feel all alone, that cut themselves till the knife hits a bone. I feel just like you. If you feel like me, then let me hear you scream out, psych ward family. A 3G system in 1G ride, bass hitting so hard, feel like worlds collide. Man, 10,000 Cadillacs said it, let me hear it. Bitch, we claiming Cleveland and we ain't prepared to share it. So pop in some wolf pack and put your dukes up, or do it like 3-6 and tear this club up. Bloodstains, cocaine, weed, greed, and power. Mushrooms got me here, be gone in an hour. I'm ready to trip and flip the script. Haters, stomach your pistol whip. Watch it, bitches run. Where you going, son? That door is locked and the gun is cocked. Hammer back and I'm ready to attack. And I watch you drop to the sounds of a pop, pop, pop. That's what you get when you're fucking with me. You ain't nothing but a bitch ass wanna be. You wanna run your mouth, man, shut the fuck up. Don't sing it, just bring it and I'll rough you up. Cause I don't need no hook. This beat's that tight, I'll just shut up and let the bass hit you like.
Money's Crazy Mind contains language that may not be suitable for all listeners. Discretion is advised, but will be completely ignored.
I'm sick of it, doing right, doing wrong. Parents pissed off every time I write a song. Smoke, crack, worship Satan, what the fuck is that? It's something funny, made for you to laugh at.
You're destroying America with your rap.
You're so full of shit I need to call hazmat. The only way I would ever apologize
I gotta go
if
on
I
record
had
with
my
this,
face
right?
buried
I
in your
really
sister's
do.
thighs.
Never in 39 years have I ever seen anything like
Okay, I'm sorry
It
for what
shows
it's worth,
the
but the best
fanaticism
part of you was the
of this fan
afterbirth.
base, and
If you
it's
can't
crazy.
take a fucking joke, then go jump in the river. Na 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 na
Into the
na na
return of
na na,
sin.
and I fucked your sister.
where he
You
overshadowed
can't
the
take a fucking joke, then go jump in
of
the
Randy
river. La 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 la
That it was
la
kind
la
of-
la,
for me,
and I fucked your sister.
If you want to continue to put this narrative out there that Cody finishing the story
What the fuck, dude?
is this big daunting task, and Cody has all these mountains to climb and all these brass rings to pull. And of course, we gotta thank our official music sponsor, Psych Ward, for the continued use of Funny Bone.
And my balls on her chin, she's bobbing her head to this fucking beat. Damn, dog, man, your sister's a freak. Hey, baby, you like the Eagles? Wanna hear something?
Oh man, here we are. We're back, man. Feels good to be back. Back at it. The asylum is officially opening for business once again. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back in to Money's Crazy Mind. And as always, we have to thank our partners and sponsors. We'll get started with the logo that you see on the screen over there, Keezy Productions. Thank you so much to Keezy Productions for continuing to believe in Money's crazy mind. And coming up here very soon, a new home for Keezy Productions. Stay tuned for more information on that. And of course, Growing Wings Adult Services. If you or your loved ones have disabilities and you want to make sure that you are getting the best care and treatment, then reach out to the team over at Growing Wings, including Lisa Summers, the owner of Growing Wings. They do an amazing job. And Nameless Faceless Productions for always making us look good, sound good, and continue to be the best podcast we possibly can. And as always, we have to thank our musical sponsor. You hear them behind me, and of course you heard them at the beginning of the show with the official theme song of Money's Crazy Mind, Funny Bone. We got to thank our guys over in Psych Ward. And I do want you to know that I have been talking with the remaining members of Psych Ward, and we will have them back in the asylum here very, very soon. But, you know, for the past couple of weeks, it has been crazy for Nameless Faceless Productions and yours truly. You guys know it. You guys have felt it. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire hit theaters this weekend, and the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters have been very busy these past couple of weeks, making sure that we support not only the film, but also help support all the fans of the film. And we're going to get into everything that we did this past weekend for the premiere of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But as always, we are here in Spook Central, the official home of Money's Crazy Mind. And you guys are going to see a couple of little changes here this week. But before we get into all of the festivities that happened this past weekend for Frozen Empire, a couple things I wanted to just kind of talk about here. And as you can see in the title, we're going to be doing a little bit of some Jay-Z borrowing, if you can. When I say, fuck critics, you can kiss my whole asshole. And we'll get into more about that here in a little bit once we jump into the Money's Crazy Mind News Center to kind of discuss something that's been happening currently with things that critics are doing and some observations, if you will, that not only myself, but a lot of other movie fans are starting to pick up on. But Thursday night, for the world premiere of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters teamed up with our friends in the Ghostbusters Cleveland to help usher in the world premiere of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire at our local Cinemark Theater here in Northeast Ohio in Valley View. There was a little bit of a miscommunication between our local Cinemark and Cinemark Corporate, to where we were originally going to have Ghostbusters Cleveland's Ecto Mini, which has been featured in several fan Ecto calendars that the Calgary Ghostbusters put out, but also our Ecto Ram truck for the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. We wanted them parked right in front of the theater so that guys, you know, that the guests of the theater can tell we were doing something there for the new Ghostbusters film. But due to the miscommunication, we were unable to make that happen. But we did have not one, not two, but three Ecto vehicles in the parking lot that fans could, you know, interact with and things like that. We weren't allowed to do anything officially with the truck, you know, with the cars or anything like that, you know, due to like safety and legal concerns and things like that. But they were there parked in the parking lot for everyone to go and enjoy. But when we got into the theater, you know, it was actually really cold here in Ohio on Thursday. Go figure, seeing what the title of the movie is. so we were, we asked if we could come inside, and they're like, yeah, go right into the lobby, like where the concession stand and everything is. They set us up in a nice little area. They even pulled over like this big giant 3D display that looks like the front of the firehouse over to where we were so that we could use it as like a photo backdrop and things like that. It was actually a really good event. We brought the Frozen Empire posters that we had that were gifted to us by Sony Pictures, and we did a really good event with it. And it was a lot of fun, and we had a great time. We want to thank Cinemark for their hospitality and for, working with us, even though we had that little minor mix up, with the vehicles and things like that. But it was a great time there. And anybody that was there with the two groups that was in uniform, in a Ghostbusters uniform, we were given a free Ghostbusters branded slushie that Icy and Sony collaborated with for the film. So that was a lot of fun too. And so when we decided to team up with these movie theaters, and we also did AMC in Ridge Park Square here in Parma on Friday night. When we said we were going to team up with these movie theaters, we weren't just going to go there, do an event, and say, hey, thanks guys, great, thanks for having us, we're going to go bye. We actually stayed and watched the film as well. Thursday night was a great turnout. Everybody seemed to be enjoying the movie and everything. It was a great time with, just hanging out with the guys and our families and everything like that. I mean, my wife came, my mom came, my sister and her girlfriend came, as my family. And we bought probably 30 tickets, just amongst, our friends and family and us to see the film. And that's just Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. And I know a lot of the guys with the Cleveland Ghostbusters bought tickets as well. And they're doing an event today, and they're doing an event tomorrow as well. We just decided to do Thursday and Friday with the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters, since those were the two premiere days. And like I said, we had a lot of fun Thursday night. Thursday night was a blast. And we're actually going to be doing another event with Cinemark in the summer for the 40th anniversary of the original Ghostbusters film as well. So stay tuned for details on that. So then Friday night, we were at AMC Ridge Park Square. Again, a very similar deal. We were going to park the truck out front, but due to weather, we weren't unable to do that because of like the electrical components and things like that. It was raining. But we did have the truck there, and AMC was like super amped to have us there, right? Like they pulled out the stops for us. Like they're like, we need pictures with the truck. We need pictures with you guys dressed up. We need this. We need that. Cinemark did similar. They're like, a lot of the employees came down and they're like, can we get pictures with the Ghostbusters? And they were saying how much they love the movie and everything like that. Same thing at AMC. And again, they set us up right there in the theater, right next to the room where Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was going to be shown. And we had the posters out again, which we had sold out of our actual film posters, like the blue poster with the sewer dragon and Slimer and them standing in the red coats in front of Ecto 1. Like, we sold out of those posters, the full-size ones, Friday night or Thursday night at Cinemark. So all we had left were our black teaser posters that had the Frozen Ghostbusters logo on it and just said coming soon. So those were the only ones that we had left of that. And then we had the little mini posters, which I have my Afterlife one that we have right over here on the wall, right next to the green screen. Same size, and it, I guess they call them lobby cards now, but we had the mini posters left of the blue. And then we also had the black ones with just the Frozen logo on it as well. You'll see the Frozen logo here in a little bit on the show. Like I said, we're doing some stuff here when we get into talking actually about the film Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But so I mean, these were great events, and we need to thank both theaters. AMC enjoyed having us. They enjoyed the shit out of it, and like, obviously they could tell we were fans, and both Cinemark and AMC had exclusive merchandise that Sony was putting out to help promote the film. So obviously, when we were at Cinemark Thursday night, we're just like, we'll take the cups, we'll take the Slimer popcorn tub. Um, I want the snack pack that comes with the other exclusive Ghostbusters cup. Like, we went all out with this, right? And then it was the same thing at AMC. I'll take the $40 life size Ghost Trap popcorn tub. Oh, you got a snack pack where I get exclusive cups with that too? I'll take that. So I mean, like we spent money, like again, like obviously we're diehards, right? We're fanatics when it comes to Ghostbusters. So like we knew this was going to be an expensive weekend for us, and it did not disappoint. And then the fact that we enjoyed the movie on top of it was the added bonus with that, right? So yeah, I mean, we just had a great time promoting these films this weekend and helping get the word out that yes, this is the year. This is the 40th anniversary of this franchise. This franchise has existed for 40 years. Well, not yet. We're still at 39 until June 8th. And then it'll be 40 years of Ghostbusters existing in the ether of time. And, it was just, it was a phenomenal weekend getting back together with the guys. And, like for a lot of us, this is the first time that we've seen each other with the Hasbro HasLab packs. So, we're looking and saying like, oh, you did that mod, you did that mod. And then we're talking about mods that we want to do in the future, modifications to the pack to make them look a little bit different. A lot of these guys are converting these packs back down to what the original 84 Proton pack looked like in the original movie. Me, I'd like to keep mine looking a little bit more like Afterlife and Frozen Empire because I have another Proton pack that I've had for years. It was my very first one that I bought right when I was joining the group. And I kind of put that one down to 84 specs a little bit. And so I just decided, like that'll be my 84 pack. And then I have my Hasbro pack that's going to be more the modern look for the new films. But I mean, just hanging out with the guys again and just seeing the excitement in the fans' faces as they were coming out to us and being like, oh my God, are you guys going to see the movie too? And, like there were different showtimes going on at different times. So people were either coming up to us right after they got out of the film or they were coming up to us right as they were going into the film. We actually saw it in XD that first night, that world premiere night. We saw it in XD. So we saw it in one of the best screens possible. And, we'll get into all of that, what the film looked like, sounded like, all of that. But I will promise this, and this is a promise that I've made since I started Money's Crazy Mind all those years ago. This will be spoiler free. And because I do pride myself in being an unbiased film critic, I will give my 100% honest opinion, fandom of Ghostbusters aside, review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and it will be spoiler free. If it was in the trailer and it existed in the film, I will mention it. But if it was not in the trailer, it will not be spoken of in my review. That is a promise, okay? And if I am going to give a spoiler out, I will kind of touch on that a little bit. I'll say, hey guys, I know I said this is spoiler free, but I have to give a spoiler in order to give a point. Like that'll be the only time I ever give a spoiler. But yeah, just a great weekend with the guys, a great weekend promoting the film, and a great weekend enjoying the film. And one last little thing, a couple little things actually, and then we'll move on to the first topic, which is critics and what I feel is going on there. I did an appearance yesterday, March 22nd, on a podcast called Paranautica. And it was a great time. It was a great time. The guy that hosts the show, it was really good, professional. And what we noticed happened is actually kind of what I do here on this show. And it was kind of just a bullshit session of us just going back and forth about different topics. We talked a little bit about Ghostbusters and the new movie. We talked a little bit about like the film, like film critics. So you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek, if you go back and listen to his show of what we did or what I'm going to talk about here today. But then we also talked about the last topic that we talked about here on this show, which is the Gone Girl effect when it comes to law enforcement. We talked a little bit about the Denise Huskins case, the cases from Victim Suspect, and some of these tactics that are being used in law enforcement when it comes to those kinds of cases and things like that. So it was a really good, cool conversation. And I did get invited back to appear on Paranautica again. And I'm also extending the invitation to the host of Paranautica to come into the asylum, into Spook Central, and be a part of Money's Crazy Mind. And I just want to thank the team over at Paranautica for inviting me on the show and having me be a guest on the show. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it again, and I can't wait to have you come here onto the asylum and do a show with me. Excuse me. It's been a long 2 days, so yeah, I'm a little tired. But as I mentioned, Keezy Productions is going to be moving into a new home, and I can't wait to get into that new home, get everything going, get everything rocking, get everything set up, and get ready to go. With some things that we're going to be doing to make that space fit us a little bit better than what we were getting in our previous home. And things are going to be more professional. Things are going to be more set up clearly, and it's going to be more set to the vision that we have when it comes to what we want to do with Keezy Productions. So really excited for that. So stay tuned for more information on that as well. I do know that originally the Women's Health Summit was scheduled for tomorrow. We're waiting to hear if that is still going to be the case or if we're going to be pushing it off to another day. So more on that. I'm actually waiting to get word from Jess and Lisa as to whether or not the Women's Health Summit will still be happening tomorrow or not. So if I get that information during this broadcast, while I'm here broadcasting, I will share that information with everybody. If not, just watch for updates on the Keezy production pages and also the Money's Crazy Mind page. All right. So let's get into it. So the title of this week's show is Fuck Critics, A Night at the Movies with the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. Obviously, we already talked about the night at the movies. Well, both nights at the movies with the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. So what do I mean by when I say fuck critics? Well, to do that, let's go ahead and jump in to the Money's Crazy Mind News Center. And here we go. Yeah, buddy, look at that intro, man. All right, well, here we are in the Money's Crazy Mind News Center. And, for a long time, in the past decade or so, I'll say, it just seems like film critics just want to bash everything that they personally do not agree with. And obviously, the most recent victim of that I know of is, in fact, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And that was none the more evident than when the reviews started coming out after the first press screeners were being shown last Tuesday night. Now, the world premiere, or the official premiere, I should say, for the film happened in New York on March 14th. Ghostbusters fans from all over the world were invited to go up to New York and see the film with the cast, with the crew, and have their first sights in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, what I find very interesting about that is that no critic reviews came out until after the press screener Tuesday night. And of course, there's no more popular review aggregator site than Rotten Tomatoes. And what I found really interesting with the Rotten Tomatoes scores with this is Rotten Tomatoes didn't wait until the audience scores were coming out to start putting out their consensus, their review aggregation data on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So all you had were 43 reviews from some of the top quote-unquote critics on Rotten Tomatoes. And their consensus of the film was very interesting, as you can see. 44% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes based on 43 reviews. And what I found really interesting about that was that even though there were positive reviews, the only reviews that you could see on the website, at the top of the website, when you start scanning the website looking for what the critics were saying about the film, were all at the top. All the positive reviews were pushed down to the bottom. And this made me start to wonder, while this website is supposed to be non-biased and just letting people know what people are thinking about the film, but not just critics, but audiences as well. But could they possibly have an agenda here by pushing all the negative reviews to the top and all the positive reviews to the bottom? But I also noticed a couple other things too when it came to these critic reviews, and that they were all saying basically the exact same thing. Nostalgia driven, original cast making appearances. It's not the 2016 movie. It's no better than the original film. Things like that. Which is actually kind of funny because these exact same reviewers that are saying what they're saying about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire were saying the exact opposite when it came to Spider-Man No Way Home just a few years ago. The nostalgia was just what we needed. We needed to see Andrew Garfield again. We needed to see Tobey Maguire again. The throwbacks to the original Spider-Man movies were amazing. You know, bringing back those great quippy lines and having Doc Ock, be Doc Ock, having William Dafoe being Green Goblin again. Even bringing back Jamie Foxx as Electro, and, all those things that were being such highlights and such positives about that film all of a sudden became a negative when it came to being Ghostbusters. And one review in particular really actually had a lot of people talking and a lot of people questioning this. And that was the review from IGN, where it said, if all you need for ghostbusting is proton packs, flight suits, and nostalgia, then maybe Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is the movie for you. Well, yeah. If the movie is going to be called Ghostbusters, then yes, we want those things that have been constants for now almost 40 years to be in the film, which is flight suits, proton packs, and who you gonna call. So why wouldn't we want those things? Yeah, and the other thing is that, they're pushing the Spengler family down our throat. Well, no shit, they're gonna be pushing the Spengler family down your throat. They're the new Ghostbusters. Did you guys not see Afterlife? Hello? Anybody home? Think. McFly, think. And I know, wrong franchise. But, that was just the take that I took on that, right? You introduced these new characters in Afterlife, the Spenglers. Phoebe, Trevor, Callie, Mr. Gruberson, Lucky, and Podcast. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to go into Frozen Empire and that's the sequel to Afterlife, then yes, you're going to want to see those characters come back and you're going to want to see them doing what they were starting to do at the end of the last movie, which is bust fucking ghosts. But somebody has to teach them the right way to be Ghostbusters, right? So who would be the ones to teach them how to be Ghostbusters? Well, that would be Ray Stantz, Winston Zeddemore, and Peter Venkman. They're the remaining Ghostbusters since Egon Spengler is dead. And the only reason Egon Spengler is dead is because the man that played Egon Spengler died in 2012, Harold Ramis. And, I mean, yeah, so, like, when you look at the cast list and you see those names on there, yeah, okay, okay. And they even told us that back on Ghostbusters Day last year, 2 years ago, when they started working on the new movie, they're just like, yeah, the guys are going to have a way bigger part in this. And then introducing new characters, which apparently that's a problem with them too. Introducing more new characters. Duh. And so I just don't understand what's going on here. But it just seems that there seems to be a growing consensus amongst film fans that if the critics hate the movie, the audience loves the movie. And somebody in a Ghostbusters group online actually shared that consensus. So now that it's Saturday, 2 days after the film came out, what are audiences saying about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? I'm glad you asked that. And watch this, because now that there's even more critic review, and I just grabbed this right before I started the show. So this is up to the minute information here, okay? I just grabbed the screen grab that I'm about to put up. The critic review is getting even lower. But the audience review is what I want you guys to look at. And I'm noticing this a lot. Like I said, recently I'm noticing this a lot. And I think one of the first times I ever really noticed it was Terminator Genesis, where the critics were bashing the shit out of Terminator Genesis, but the fans were loving it. Same thing with Jurassic World. So maybe it was Jurassic World was the first time I noticed it. I don't know. And then we'll talk about something else that was brought up very interestingly, especially in Ghostbusters circles, since this is the most recent attack when it comes to this kind of thing. So now Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is down to a 42% critic score, but an 86% audience score. Audiences are loving the film. And we're talking not just die-hard Ghostbuster fans, but even casual Ghostbuster fans as well. And you can see that the numbers on that are much bigger. Now, it's not 43 reviews. The numbers are much higher. We got like 200 reviews for the critics and over 100 audience reviews now. And not everybody that's seeing the movie, including Ghostbuster fans, are liking the movie. So I want to throw that out there too. But let's think about some other films that had really bad critic scores on Rotten Tomatoes, but had amazing audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes. The Flash is one. And probably one of the most known. Audiences love The Flash. Critics hated it. And actually, a former IGN employee actually kind of spoke about this as well. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, when their review for the film came out, had a score of 4 out of 10. Madam Web, a film that is universally hated, not just by audiences, but by critics alike, got a better score from IGN than Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And that former employee said, I find it really funny that Madam Web, which is a film that is way worse than Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, has a better score from IGN. And that just goes to prove the reason I quit which is you get more money for hating films than liking them. But there's one more thing that I want to bring up when it comes to this. And for that, we're actually going to look at a response from Instagram from the group Screen Thrill. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire debuts with a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes from 43 reviews. This is even lower than the 2016 female-led film at 74%. A film the fans hated, and a film the critics loved. So, that's kind of where I go with this, right? Even people that don't like Ghostbusters did not like the 2016 film because it was poorly written and poorly put together. The political agenda that not only Sony at the time, when they were under different leadership, was trying to put out, but also there was other political agendas that were going on at the time too. For more information on that, check out the Sony hack and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Because there were emails being shared between Amy Pascal, the then head of Sony Pictures, and Paul Feig, the writer and director of Ghostbusters 2016, where she admits that the entire purpose is to bury the Ghostbusters franchise and to get Ivan Reitman, God rest his soul, out of power at Ghost Corp, which hadn't even existed at the time. But Ivan Reitman owns intellectual property when it comes to Ghostbusters, and he has final say on directing and executive producing the film. Amy didn't want any of that, so she was trying to force him out. There's also emails in that Sony hack that prove that Sony was purposely deleting comments on their YouTube page, which Ghostbusters 2016 is the most hated video. The trailer for it, I should say, is the most hated video on YouTube, or at least it was at the time. But they were purposely going through and deleting comments that were not sexist. And the only comments that they were leaving on the page were the ones that were of toxic masculinity to make it look like Ghostbuster fans had an agenda to purposely bury that film for it being a female-led cast, which is not the case at all. Because if that were the case, then we would hate Frozen Empire just about as much as we hate the 2016 film, because the lead character in this film is a 15-year-old girl named Phoebe, played by the fantastic McKenna Grace. Plus, you have Carrie Coon, her mother, Callie, which is another female-led character. Those are the leading roles in this film. Dan, Bill, Ernie, they're background characters. They have bigger roles than they had in Afterlife, but they're background characters. Even Finn Wolfhard, Trevor, not shown on screen as much as Callie and Phoebe. Podcast, one of the great characters from Afterlife, shown very little in the film. Lucky, another female character played by Celeste O'Connor, not nearly shown as much as Phoebe and Callie. And there's a new character that was introduced in the film that has even more screen time than every other name I just mentioned. So if there really is a sexist agenda in the Ghostbusters community, why is this film rated higher, audience-wise, than the 2016 film? The audience score on that is abysmal. The critic, as you saw in that tweet, or actually that was an Instagram post, says otherwise when it comes to the critics. So could it also be because the exact same critics that are bashing Frozen Empire were the exact same critics that rated the 2016 movie at 74% fresh? So could it potentially be that those critics are still butthurt from the 2016 film? Because they loved that movie and they wanted to see more of it, but the fans spoke and they said, we don't want any more of this. That film sucked. And not because it was female cast. The film sucked because it sucked. It was bad. It was not Ghostbusters, and that was the biggest complaint. And we, as the fans, even said, hey, look, we don't have a problem with you putting 4 female Ghostbusters on the screen. We don't have a problem with that. But what we have a problem with is that at the time, there was 30 years of back information that you have to go from. You have the original movie, Ghostbusters 2, the cartoons, Real Ghostbusters and Extreme Ghostbusters, and the video game that you can pull information from. And oh yeah, IDW comic books that you can pull the information from. So if you want to do a reboot of Ghostbusters, cool, great. Give us more Ghostbusters. That's what we want. That's what we've wanted since 1989. But don't completely erase everything that came before it. That was our biggest gripe. And that's exactly what you did. Because you wanted to destroy what came before and push your political agenda. You want to know why Ghostbuster fans hate the movie? That's why. Because you were force-feeding stuff down our throat that we didn't like. And it wasn't females. It was that you were trying to erase history in a time when the political landscape of this country was very divided. I think even more divided than it is now. And I don't like talking politics on the show. So that's all I'm going to say. You got to remember, this is 2016. That was Hillary versus Trump. But like I said, for more information on all the things that Sony was trying to do back then to bury Ghostbusters, check out the information that's been released about the Sony hack. So to kind of put a bow on this part of the topic, critics maybe should no longer be the defining characteristic of if a movie is successful or not. Even in the past couple of years, there's been great examples. Black Adam, The Flash, we talked about those two. There's been others too, where the audiences love the films and the critics hate them. And those films are considered failures because the critics had their say before the audience did. So here's what I think needs to happen to help curb things like this happening. Don't put out the review aggregations until after audiences get to see the film too. So then that way, the general public who maybe is on a wait and see kind of consensus, which some of my friends are and were with this. They're on a wait and see consensus as to whether or not they should go and see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire because of that critic score that was released before the audience score. But then you see the audience score, and it makes you wonder, is the film really all that bad? I'll give my opinion on that here in just a few moments. We're going to go to break, and when we come back, my review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
It's been a long week and it's been a long grind.
Steady wasting time at this little job of mine. It's time for the weekend, hear what I'm speaking. It's time for cheap and visual peeking. Got me tweaking, I need a release. I wanna swing fists, I wanna rip some shit. Tear this club up and bang your head. It's like war music, make you feel the bloodshed.
Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Come get bucked out if you wanna step up. Step back, cause you're gonna get fucked up. Getting crunk off the funk, it's the twist of mind punch. It's time to get pumped, so jump up, jump up. Bend your head till your neck feels broke. We left you in the dust, all you see is the smoke. Sight one mowing down anyone in a path. Getting ready for the aftermath. Run up or shut up, 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 run up or shut up. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Can't stop me cause I'm close to the edge. So fucked up, I'ma put you to bed. Don't give a fuck, dude, caution to the wind. Anger set in, not a corner to begin. I'm an A-bomb, watch me explode. Your time is up, get ready for the death mode. Psych ward, the best from the Midwest. Killers and convicts, feeling the bass hit. Run up or shut up, 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 run up or shut up. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Run up or shut up, run up or shut up. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Run up or shut up, run up or shut up, run up or shut up, run up or shut up. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot. Kids don't wanna dance, they wanna start a riot. They wanna start a riot, they wanna start a riot.
Oh wow, that sounds really great. Wow, that sounds like a really good deal.
Who are you talking to?
The Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters.
Hello, Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. What are you wearing?
Khakis?
Well, that sounds hideous.
Well, they're Ghostbusters. All right. Here we go. We're back. Back. And we are about to get into it here. So here we go. We are about to dig into Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, my thoughts on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about something that's coming up here real soon from Keezy Productions. On April 20th at Sacred Waters Kava Bar in North Olmsted, World Beats is going to be returning. $3 at the door, and you get to see King V, Air MC, Zombie Boy, Danny P, Olympus Mons, Bart Watts, Royal T, and King 6. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a lot of fun at that show. The last World Beats was amazing. And personally, in my personal opinion, Olympus Mons stole the show. But King V was great. Zombie Boy was great. Everybody that was on that last show was great. And you're going to get to see them again. And some new folks joining them as hopefully the guys are going to take care of that because I'm busy. But anyway, yep, there they go. Yeah, get them, boys. Get them. Yeah. Take that. But great time as always at Kava, Sacred Waters Kava Bar. The Kava is really good there as well. But this is going to be a great night. So hopefully you guys will join Keezy Productions. I'll be there. Obviously, Lisa Summers will be there. Jess will be there. We'll all be there rooting these guys on. And these guys are a great set of guys and a great bunch of artists. So come on out, enjoy it, have fun, have some kava, and have just a great time at the show. All right. So, as we said before we went to break, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire opened this week, and it is a great film. It's a lot of fun. Let's get into it. With that being said, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire exactly what it says it is, a frozen empire, or is it an ice cold failure? So what you see behind me is the 2 flyers that we put out promoting our events for the weekend. And as I said, there it is. The Frozen Ghostbusters logo, which they were using for all of the advertisement for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And plus in the upper right-hand corner over there, you see the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters logo. For the most part, I really enjoyed the film. It was a fun ride. And basically everything that they had said about the movie was just about true. The scary parts were very scary. Well, I don't want to say very scary, because, I mean, obviously there are a lot of horror movies that are out there that are more scary than a Ghostbusters film. But there was a sense of terror that was going on in the moments that were scary, which goes back to the original 84 film. And even Ghostbusters 2 in some spots. Now, obviously, as an adult now, looking at Ghostbusters 2, it definitely does have a little bit more of that family-friendly feel. And that's mainly just because by that point, the cartoon had been out for a few years. And it's very hard to put a movie out that kind of goes back to what the original film was when you have this new intellectual property that is geared more towards children. But I will say this, there were even episodes of the real Ghostbusters that even still to this day as an adult, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, did I really watch that when I was a kid? That's slightly terrifying. So I definitely do get that part of it. But there were definitely scenes with the new villain Garaka that gave you like this just cold chill down your spine, which is kind of funny because that's what he's supposed to do. In the trailer, you hear Dr. Stan say it. You know, he kills with the power of fear itself. And there are definitely moments in the film where you get that cold chill when Garaka is on the screen. You're just like, man, that is an intimidating villain. But then also, there's a lot of humor in the film too. And a lot of it doesn't come from Dan, Bill, and Ernie, which is, I think, what a lot of people were expecting. You have, you know, those comedic characters on the screen, and you expect them to be their normal, you know, comedic selves that they've been for all the years that they've been in the business. Now, Ernie Hudson really isn't that much of a comedic actor, but Dan and Bill definitely are. You know, Bill with Second City and even SNL, and then Dan with SNL and some of the stuff that he did up in Canada even before that. You know, obviously characters like the Blues Brothers, the Coneheads, you know, all the stuff that Bill's done over the years. You would expect comedic stuff out of those characters. but they were more there for like story filler than they were to push the actual comedy. A lot of the comedy came from Paul Rudd. You had Finn Wolfhard involved in some of it. Patton Oswalt, obviously, you have a comedic character there. And even Kumail Nanjiani was somewhat funny as well. He was more the slapstick character, which, I'm a huge fan of Silicon Valley, the show that Kumail was on. And he was not that same kind of character from that. But he definitely did, he definitely was involved in some comedic stuff, which was a little bit of a refreshing thing on that. And I'm going to let the music play one more time, and then I'm going to stop it. But overall, the film was very enjoyable. Scary in some spots, like we talked about. Funny in spots, like we talked about. A lot of action with the Ecto-1. They did kind of promote it as like every ghost the Ghostbusters have ever caught is going to be released. And so you were kind of expecting to see a little bit more ghost busting in a ghost busting film, but we didn't get that. But that, that's not, that wasn't a negative. That didn't take away too much from the film itself. Like, there were some scenes of ghost busting. There were a lot of great moments with Slimer, who is a returning character and obviously a beloved character in the franchise. He was used in a lot of the merchandising for the film. You had the green Slimer slushies. Obviously, both AMC and Cinemark had Slimer popcorn buckets. The quality of each was to be questioned, but that's another story for another time. That's marketing. That doesn't have anything to do with the film. But you definitely get that family dynamic like we got in Afterlife with this. And they're building more on that. You're starting to see where each person in this new Spengler family fits in this new future that they're going to have as Ghostbusters. And there's a great little touching moment with Phoebe and Paul Rudd's character, McKenna Grace and Paul Rudd, at the end of the film, where you kind of see where this is going. The love interest is definitely still there between Trevor and Lucky. There's a little bit of a love interest there between Podcast and Phoebe, but then there's also another relationship dynamic that happens with Phoebe, which in one review it kind of did take, they're just like, oh, there's the agenda. We were waiting to see the agenda. We found it, and it's between Phoebe's character and actually a ghost character in the film. And like I said, I've seen the movie twice, and I don't see what they're talking about. Like, much like in Afterlife, the Phoebe character is still very unsure of herself. But she's also now becoming a teenager, and they were also kind of making fun of the fact that she's like an angsty teenager. What are teenagers? They're angsty. Like, come on. None of that's a spoiler. It's just a little bit of character development that they were putting in there. But I really did enjoy this movie. It was exactly what they were promoting it to be. They took a lot of influence from the cartoon Real Ghostbusters, and maybe even a little bit with Extreme Ghostbusters with some of the advancements in the technology, which we do see them playing with in the film. One of the big takeaways from that aspect of it was, we didn't get to see a lot of the new technology all that much. It was kind of just there. Well, okay, but if this movie does well, there will be others, and we'll be able to see that technology in those films. Obviously the red coats, as you can see, were a big marketing ploy. And those were not featured very much in the film at all. Not so much a letdown for me, they were there. Obviously it's cold because this is a Frozen Empire movie, and The villain Garaka does have a lot to do with ice and cold. But the opening of the film, very scary. I will say that, like, there was a very horror element in the opening of the film, which obviously mirrors what they did in the first movie, because the opening scene of the first movie is in the library with the librarian, for lack of better terminology, getting the shit scared out of her. And then this film kind of mirrored that with the way that they open the film. And then you get a great action sequence, which has been seen in the trailers, where they're chasing the Hell's Kitchen sewer dragon through the streets of New York, which was an awesome sequence. So this film had it all. It had action, it had comedy, it had horror, it had everything that you expect to see in a Ghostbusters movie. Here's a little bit of my negative takeaways from it. So like I said, I love the movie. The movie is great. I definitely recommend anybody that's a Ghostbusters fan, or even just a fan of some of the actors in the film. Paul Rudd, McKenna Grace, Finn Wolfhard, obviously Stranger Things. Or even if you want to just see the OGs one more time, Bill, Dan, and Ernie, definitely check the flick out, man. It's worth a watch. It definitely is worth a watch. I saw it twice, 2 days in a row, and I was able to make a complete takeaway of the film. So here's some of the negatives. You introduce 2 new characters. You introduce Patton Oswalt, and you introduce Kumail Nanjiani. Patton gets a lot of screen time, and there's reason for that. Well, he doesn't get a lot of screen time, but he gets a decent amount of screen time. And kind of like what you can see in the trailer, you can kind of tell that Kumail's character has a lot to do with this narrative that they're telling with Garaka. And I just felt like he didn't have enough screen time for that. Like, you are the one who is bringing this being to the Ghostbusters. You are the one that is presenting them with this new threat. And you're in the movie 15 minutes. Like that to me was one of my big negative takeaways. It's just like, you're building this character, but yet you were kind of just there. My other takeaway from it is you don't get enough Lucky. Like, I really liked the Lucky character in Afterlife, because you can kind of tell that she was going to become the love interest for Trevor. And she's barely in the film. Podcast, you could get a sense of how he was going to fit into this near the end of Afterlife, and there's more of that in this. He's fitting into what you expected him to fit into in this film. Phoebe, we talked about the teenage angst stuff, and I'm cool with that, because like I said, teenagers are angsty, man. I've been a teenager. I was angsty. And every other teenager I know, they've been angsty too. So I didn't have a problem with that. Another really good character that they introduced into this, I can't remember her character name. But she fit a lot into the story too. And I loved what they did with it, because you can see Emily Allen Lind is the actress that played her. But I can't remember what her character name was in Afterlife or Frozen Empire. Let me take a look here. Melody. Her name was Melody. And she was a ghost. Again, not too much of a spoiler there. But her and the Phoebe character have a lot to do with each other. And it was kind of shocking to see how they fit her into the film, and she was a great character as well. Um, and I liked what they did with that story. It definitely brings in more of like the paranormal lore about why certain spirits hang around and why certain spirits don't. And they did push a lot of old school paranormal lore, which obviously ties in to Dan Aykroyd's personal background. But overall, the movie was just a lot of fun. And I don't understand a lot of the critics' negativity. And, they kept throwing words out like nostalgia and pushing the original cast on us and everything like that. Like I said, I've seen the movie twice. And other than a few moments where they brought out a couple of different lines that were used in the original film, light is green, trap is clean, calling Walter Peck dickless, a couple of things like that, there was not a lot of nostalgia in this film. The music did mirror the music from the original film, but the guy that did the music in this movie is the son of the guy that did the music in the original film. So you can kind of expect that, right? And I'm sure that, Jason Reitman and Gil Kanan had a lot to do with that as well, since they were the, directors and writers, and Jason is an executive producer on this film, much like his past father was an executive producer on both Ghostbusters 1 and 2, even though he directed them as well, and also Ghostbusters Afterlife, and he was also the executive producer in the 2016 film. And he also had a lot to do with the video game. He had a lot to do with real Ghostbusters. He had a lot to do with Extreme Ghostbusters. So Ivan Reitman and the Reitman family has had a lot to do with the history of Ghostbusters. And I think maybe the only other negative that I took away from this was I would have actually liked to have seen a little bit more of the OG characters, have a little bit more to do with the actual story itself instead of just being a little bit of filler. But I can also see what they're doing. This is that passing the torch moment that Ghostbuster fans have kind of wanted for this franchise for the last 30 years or so. And here's why I say that. Dan's getting older. Bill's getting older. Ernie's getting older. Sigourney Weaver is still making Blue People movie. Annie Potts is getting older. And obviously we don't have Harold Ramis anymore. So for me, and the fact that I know that this new cast of Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, McKenna Grace, Finn Wolfhard, Celeste O'Connor, and Logan Kim are being ushered in as the new future Ghostbusters. And plus you have the new character of Lars, who is a very Egon-like character in the film. But you're bringing in all these new characters to start world building for the next generation of Ghostbusters. But it kind of would have been nice to see at the end of the film, and again, this is just a personal gripe of mine. It would have been nice to see at the end of the film, like an actual, like, you guys got this now. We're going to step aside a little bit. We'll be here if you need us, but we're going to step aside a little bit. And I think my only other negative takeaway was the fact that there's a lot of stuff that we saw in the trailers that did not make it into the final film. A lot of moments that I thought would have maybe made it a little bit more of a complete story, because a lot of people were saying that it felt rushed. And the movie didn't feel rushed to me until near the end. The ending, yes, it's definitely a little rushed. And I think that there was a lot of stuff that maybe got edited out of the film. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the film was pretty much done and was just about ready to come out in December. But because of the actors and writers strikes, the film got pushed back until this past weekend. And I think maybe if the movie had come out then, we would have seen a lot of those moments that were in some of the trailers and stuff that we got still incorporated into the film, but the film would have been over 2 hours long. So maybe there was some stuff in the beginning of the movie that you could have cut out, and had a little bit more of a played out ending. And in a lot of the trailers, they said every ghost the Ghostbusters have ever caught has been released, and we don't really get to see too much of that. And yeah, they were released, but that's about it. But other than that, other than just those minor little gripes, and that is a little bit of fan service on my side. But other than that, the film is great. And, what I did for Afterlife, I'm going to do again here. I had people that are very casual fans with me. My mom, my sister, her girlfriend, and my wife. My wife is obviously slowly becoming a diehard because I'm a diehard. But, my mom, my sister, they went and saw Afterlife, and they really enjoyed the movie. And the very touching moment at the end of Afterlife when Callie finally gets that moment with Egon, her father, my mom and my wife both had a very similar reaction. They both lost their fathers. And they said, that made me miss my dad. And that to me was always a very telling takeaway of Afterlife. And with this, my mom is just like, the movie was really good, but I wanted more Kumail. And that was kind of my takeaway of it. And my wife had a very similar thing. She's like, I loved it. My favorite moment was seeing Slimer again, which was always been one of her favorite characters. And a really cool thing that they did here. They could have done a lot of CG because obviously this is 2024 and CG is a big part of film now. But they wanted to keep it true to the spirit of Ghostbusters, and they did a lot of practical effects. So the Slimer that you see on film and in the trailer is an actual Slimer puppet. They actually had somebody in a costume doing the movements of Slimer just like they did with Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. And same with the Library Ghost. The Library Ghost was a puppet. We see the Library Ghost in the trailer. And the Library Ghost was an actual practical effect. They actually rebuilt the Library Ghost for her reappearance in Frozen Empire. So is there nostalgia in the film? Yes. Is there nearly as much nostalgia in the film as the critics are making it out to be? Absolutely not. When you hear, oh, nostalgia everywhere. Oh my God. If you want to see the nostalgia of the original films, then go see this. But if not, if you're looking for a brand new movie, you're not getting it. Bullshit. This was a completely original movie with a little bit of the nostalgia kicked in. But again, the whole premise of the film was that every ghost the Ghostbusters have ever caught has been released. So you would expect to see Slimer again. You would expect to see the Library Ghost again. I would have liked to have seen some of the other ghosts from like the montages of Ghostbusters 1 and 2 make an appearance, but they didn't. But it's there. And there's this great, like I said, that building of family and that building of this new team of Ghostbusters. And there are great feel-good moments in the film. There are great funny moments in the film. There are great scary moments in the film. And here's another audience takeaway. And this is from somebody that I've never met a day in my life. But when we were at our second viewing Friday night at AMC, the person that was sitting behind us, because we had a whole row to ourselves, and I want to thank AMC for that. But the people that were sitting behind us, every time there was something funny on the screen, this guy was guffawing. And that is a sign that he was enjoying the film. And that's what you want. And there were even a couple of little kids that were there. And I will say this, okay? The scary moments in the film, young kids are probably going to have the same reaction I had and my cousin had when we saw Ghostbusters 2 in theaters. And you see Vigo like alive out of the painting. And like, we were like 5, right? Maybe even 4 because we were both born in November. And like, he got so terrified, my aunt had to take him out of the theater. Me, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh fuck. Like I saw the dude's head like 3Ding the painting and everything, but now the motherfucker's walking. Got a little too overexcited there. So there's that. There are moments like that in this film where, like I said, you get that feeling of dread every couple of times that Garaka's on the screen. But it wasn't just Garaka. There's other moments too where you're just like, dude, what? That's a little terrifying. And like, again, there was a moment at the AMC viewing. There's a moment in the film that can get pretty terrifying if you think about it. And I'm thinking about it from like a younger audience perspective. Like I'm thinking about this scene, I'm playing it back in my head. And even me, I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, yo, where's my proton pack? Because like I want to go help these guys. Like this can get bad. And it's because of what you know is in the scene, right? And the guy behind you that was sitting behind me is just like, oh, like we all kind of felt what was coming, right? And there's really great moments at the library. Like, you know, there's a lot of things in this film that keep you entertained. But hearing that crowd at AMC, the crowd at Cinemark was a little quiet. I will say that. But the crowd at AMC was electric and was really digging the film. They were laughing at all the right moments. They were scared at the right moments. They were enjoying the film. And we all left with this great sense of like, man, that was a fun time at the movies. And that's what I'm going to say about it. It was a fun time at the movies. For me, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was a great Ghostbusters movie. It was a great mix of all the different elements that we've come to expect from Ghostbusters over 40 years. But also for the casual fan, you could tell that they were just having fun. And that is what's most important about this. Me, I'm a diehard, so I tore the movie apart for certain things. But that's the point. Me, I'm a diehard. That's what I'm here for. But as a movie fan, and as somebody that went in there, you know, I took what was in the trailer, and that made me excited. But I wanted to go in this fresh, and I wanted to go into it with an open mind, and I wanted to go into it saying this movie could, because obviously I saw the critic reviews, but I also saw some of the early reviews from some of the fans that went to the premiere in New York, and there were some people that were just like, it's good, it's not great. And then there were a few that were just like, the movie's great, it's a lot of fun. And then there were those people that were just like, this is the worst fucking thing that's ever happened to Ghostbusters. So I kept, fuck me. God damn. I kept all of that in the back of my mind when I was watching it. And I left with my own opinion. And I went into this saying, I'm here. I'm in uniform. I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I'm a member of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. But I'm also looking at this as a reporter who has a podcast that's going to review this film. So I wanted to go into it with both mindsets. Night one was the reporter mindset. Night two, since I'd already seen the film, was a Ghostbusters fan mindset. But I will say this. There has not been a single member of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters that I've spoken to, obviously, because I've been seeing these guys all weekend, that has not gone into this film and come out with a negative thing to say. And to end this segment of the show, I'm gonna end this with a review from one of the members of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. The movie was an absolute wonderful love letter to the fans of the franchise. I really enjoyed the lore building of the Big Bad, how everything revolved around the mystery of him, and how various events led to the climax of the film. Everyone had an amazing role in it. Of course, more Murray would have been warranted, but I get it. And one subplot that I think some critics were very hung up on clearly misinterpreted it. And that is the dynamic I was talking about between Phoebe and the ghost character. But I can see why they said what they said. I still disagree with the quote-unquote professional critics, and like myself, the majority of the fans agree that this is definitely a solid, and this is his take, 8 to 9 out of 10. And they actually had a little bit of an added benefit. They got to see the movie in D-Box, which means that the seats vibrate and react to the things that you see on film, and then they move and things like that. That would be a really awesome experience, and I think I might try to find a theater near me that has D-Box technology so that I can experience that. Now, that might be a little much for my wife because she gets motion sick off of IMAX, and that's not a dig at my wife. It's just, but so let's talk about this. I've seen it now in XD, and I saw it in standard at AMC. The sound at AMC was better. I got a more immersive experience a little bit at AMC, but again, my personal opinion, than I did at the XD. However, the picture at the XD was obviously far superior. Excuse me. I didn't grab water. I'll be right back. Okay. Now that I'm not dying. Obviously the video quality at XD was way better than it was at AMC because you're on that XD screen, which is pretty much was 4K before 4K existed. But there were the visual effects are amazing. The way that they did the ice effects looked really, really cool. And obviously, yes, there were some computer generated images. I don't know what is causing that, but it's there, but I have water now. So, but everything looked great. I mean, it like I said, it felt like a Ghostbusters movie, for one. It also felt like an episode of the original Ghostbusters cartoon, which is what they were going for two. There was just enough nostalgia to keep old school fans appreciative of it. And one more criticism that I have of Ghostbuster fans right now, okay? There's a lot of people that are out there that are sitting there saying, this isn't a film for us old school fans, us 40, 50-year-olds, and maybe even some 30-year-olds. This is for the next generation of Ghostbuster fans. Well, here's what I got to say. I was born in 1984, the year the original Ghostbusters movie came out. I've been a Ghostbusters fan my entire life. I love this movie. And I'm not afraid and I'm not ashamed to admit that I love this movie. I love everything that they're doing with it. I love the fact that they're introducing a brand new future cast to keep the franchise going. There is going to be a new cartoon that is going to be debuting on Netflix. They are having new comic books coming out from Dark Horse Comics. There are ways that they are keeping this franchise alive 40 years after its inception. The franchise has to grow and has to change in order for it to be part of this new generation. Now, all these political agendas and all this bullshit that is going on out there about, oh, they completely erased the 2016 film. They had no choice but to erase the 2016 film. It was a failure. And that was Sony realizing what I talked about with the critic reviews. We don't give a shit what the critics think about it. We give a shit what the fans think about it. And the fans went to the 2016 movie and said, this is trash. And this is not what we want in a Ghostbusters film. And then they gave us Afterlife. And we're like, yes, this We want more of this. Yes, have some, to steal a line from the original film. How's that for nostalgia, critics? And I think that that's where a lot of the misconception comes with the way that the people think about this movie. And the only way we're going to get more movies and the cartoon to go more than one season on Netflix and the comic books to continue and things like that is for the fans to enjoy it. And that's exactly what is happening. There's a reason that firehouse in New York, which they used for the external shots in the original film Ghostbusters 2 and now Frozen Empire, gets bombarded by Ghostbusters fans every year on June 8th. There's a reason why that street in Tribeca was bombarded by fans on March 14th of this past year when they did the premiere in New York. There's a reason those things happen, and it's because this franchise does in fact still have a very large and very special part in a lot of us. There's a reason we handed out over 200 posters this past weekend. There's a reason that every time we make an appearance, people are coming up to us going, "Oh, Ghostbusters." And it's not just the parents, it's the little kids too. There was a little kid that we saw at Cinemark that we did a birthday party for a couple of years ago when we were there Thursday night. And the reason they were there is because we were there. And this little kid walked up to me and walked up to another member of our group that were actually physically at his birthday party. And he just goes, "I remember you. I thank you for coming to my birthday." But not only that, but he said, "Did you like the movie? Because I liked the movie." Now, obviously, I want everybody out there to have their own opinion of the film. And there are going to be people out there that don't like the film. And that's 100% fine. But like I said, I'm a reporter first and I'm a fan second. As a reporter, this film is really, really good with some minor flaws. As a fan, I loved every second of this movie. But don't believe hype. Don't believe negativity. Don't believe critics. And if you don't want to believe audiences, that's fine. Go into these movies with your own opinion. Go into this movie and say, "I remember Ghostbusters. Let me check out what they're doing with Ghostbusters today." Because maybe you didn't like what they were doing with Ghostbusters in the 80s. And you might like this. And it's not to say that there isn't an audience out there for the 2016 film, because there definitely is. And obviously that audience wants there to be more of those movies. And maybe somewhere down the road, they can make another Answer the Call film. They can do another movie with the Answer the Call team. And maybe that will come sooner rather than later. But all I'm saying is, this is a good movie. And everybody should have the opportunity to go and see it. And because I left this as a spoiler-free review, I didn't get to get into a lot of the stuff in the film itself that I enjoyed. For that, I'm going to be bringing out a very special episode of a podcast that I used to do a couple of years ago with the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters called Slime Square. I'm going to dust off all the stuff from Slime Square, and I'm going to do a special episode of Slime Square where we break down this film in a spoiler-filled review. And I might even see if I can get a couple members of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters to join me. It was our podcast back when we were doing it. But as things happen with adults, we have lives, we have jobs. Some of us have wives. Some of us have kids. Just didn't have time to do it anymore. But I think for this, I might be able to dust a couple of those guys off and be like, hey, you guys want to come on, do an episode of Slime Square where we talk about the film? And I'm sure some of them may not be over video. Some of them may be audio, but why not, right? Why not bring those guys out? Why not let them come and give their take on it? But for this, for Money's Crazy Mind, that's my takeaway on the Ghostbusters movie. It's great. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, 7.5 out of 10. You heard what one of the members of the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters had to say. He gave it an 8 to 9 out of 10. The next thing from Ghostbusters that I'm going to be reviewing is actually going to be the brand new box set that just came out of the cartoon Extreme Ghostbusters. First time ever that has had an official home video release. My first negative thing, they only released it on DVD. I know I have not checked out the quality of it. I have not checked out anything. It looks like it's a very bare bones release where it's just the 26 episodes of the cartoon. So I have to dig into that. I have to start watching it. I have to see if they cleaned it up a little bit. The show's from 1996, right? I mean, there's that, right? But I love what they did with the time life set for the real Ghostbusters. So I was kind of hoping we got a little bit of something like that, but we didn't. But I think it's time to close down the asylum for this week. And there goes my music screwing up again. But and it kicks back on, and it kicked back on right where it left off. So with that, I'm going to leave it in. Hell, that's podcasting, right? Shit can happen at any time, right? But with that, thank you everybody for checking out this episode of Money's Crazy Mind. This was a special Saturday edition because we were talking the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters, going to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and we did it 2 nights in a row. So I wasn't around to do a show yesterday, but here we did it today. Today is also my wife's birthday, so happy 40th anniversary to my wife, Megan. And we are actually going to get ready to go and celebrate that. So, until the next time I am with you guys, this is Lee, too hot to handle, too cold to hold. You call the Ghostbusters because they in control of the box office. Already almost $50 million made in 2 days. How's that for being a successful film, right? Motherfucking Money, the host of Money's Crazy Mind, wishing you a very happy rest of the week. And in the words of Jerry Springer, take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, have a week.
Money's Crazy Mind is proud to be the exclusive flagship broadcast of Nameless, Faceless Productions.
That's all, folks.